feels like it's been forever since I've sat down in front of the camera to have a chat with everybody, but this felt like the right time to do that. Today is exactly 10 years since I made this YouTube channel, and that's kind of wild to me because there have been so many changes to the channel, to my life, to me, to this garage that it's kind of crazy to just think about how much has changed in the last 10 years. It's kind of crazy to think about me doing this for 10 years. I've not been doing it full time for 10 years, and I did it for a few years before I started ConflictNerd, and that channel's since been deleted, that's a good thing. It was not a good channel. It failed miserably. I remember getting 300 subscribers on my first YouTube channel and thinking, wow, I'm gonna do this. This is going places. This is gonna be great. And then I realized that, in fact, it wasn't going places because it was built around a Minecraft server, and the only people that were subscribed to the channel were the people that played on the Minecraft server. So I had, funnily enough, a successful Minecraft server, but not a successful YouTube channel. And arguably, based on the feedback that I get occasionally from smug internet keyboard warriors, I still don't have a successful YouTube channel because I was told recently that because I don't play popular games such as Software Inc., which I wasn't aware was popular. I mean, I know it's popular on this channel, but Software Inc. isn't popular on YouTube, let's be quite honest. It just isn't. It's a fantastic game. I wish it was more popular. But anyway, I was told that something along the lines of, well, you can look forward to the 20th anniversary of your channel where you still won't have 1 million YouTube subscribers. And I read that and I thought, fair enough. But seriously, stories aside and craziness aside and YouTube comments aside, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for your support over the last 10 years, whether you've been subscribed for a day or you've been subscribed for a year or you've been subscribed since day one, which, funnily enough, I know there are some people that have. I still talk to some of those people, and that's wild to me. It's crazy to think that there's people I've known on the internet for over 10 years. There's people I've known from that original YouTube channel that I had who they still pop up in my Twitter timeline. They still pop up in my Twitch chats, my Discords, my YouTube comments. It's wild and crazy. And it's crazy looking at their lives and seeing I know people that when I started this channel, those people are getting married now. They're having kids now, and I'm still sitting in a garage playing video games. But on an actual serious point, I don't have the right words to say how much I appreciate everything that all of you have done for me, and not just me, but my family as a result. The support that you've shown to this channel has helped me look after my family. I don't have any dependents, but I was raised by my grandparents. I've told this story a few times, but I've been able to look after my gran. I was able to look after my granddad while he was here, and so much of that is because of the support that you've shown. I've been able to, it's little things, I've been able to pay the bills for them. I've been able to buy groceries for them. I've been able to help get this or help get that, or just different things to make life a little bit easier, things to just help them relax and sort of give back for them raising me, I suppose. And yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for what all of you did. So when I say I can't find the words to thank you enough for that, there are no words to thank you enough for that. So I figured what I would do instead is I would take the lazy option for an anniversary video, and I would have you create the content for this video, right? And now I'm thinking like a YouTuber. It only took 10 years. I did, by the way, have a big plan for this video. I was going to do this big sort of story thing about the last 10 years, and then I got thinking, well, a couple of years of that were filled with depression and issues, so I don't really want to touch on that again. And then some of that was just a lot of city skylines, so it wouldn't have been the most interesting recap video. And also, I just never got around to it, so maybe by the 20th anniversary we'll get there, who knows. But what I am going to do is, like I said, have you create the content. So I went on Discord and I went on Twitter, and I asked for questions. Any question that you have for me within reason, and I will take this video to answer those questions and hopefully to your liking, I guess. That's what I'm going for. And I guess I may have forgot to ask on, you know, the important platform, YouTube. So if you have any questions watching this, leave them in the comments and I'll dive in there and answer as many as I can over the next few days and weeks and whatnot. So I will get around to them there or there. I'm assuming comments are still down there. If you're watching this as it goes out, they're down there. If you're watching this in 10 years for the 20th anniversary as like a throwback, they could be anywhere. YouTube changes its layout so much. Even YouTube has changed so much in the last 10 years. Anyway, let's dive into the Discord questions, and then we'll get to the Twitter questions, and hopefully we'll have some content. All right, Kirtland58 on Discord asks, would I ever go live on YouTube and play games like 2 Point Campus and Mountain Blade Bannerlord? It could be great playing live with chat. Also, keep up the entertaining content. Kirtland, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. I might. I've thought about it for a while. If you don't know, I do stream on Twitch occasionally, twitch.tv/ConflictNerd. This is probably too early in a video for a plug, especially this kind of video. But regardless, I do live stream, but I've thought about doing it on YouTube. But it's weird. Twitch is this beast. It's this thing that has this culture to it. It has a very live stream centric culture because it is a live streaming platform. YouTube, I have streamed here a couple of times over the years. It doesn't quite have the same culture, which is sort of what I miss. A couple of years ago, I left Twitch to go and stream on a platform called Mixer that doesn't exist anymore. And I was there for a couple of months before I went back to Twitch. And then a month later, Mixer closed. And it was the same thing. Mixer was a live streaming platform, but it just didn't have the culture that I was looking for. It felt very, I don't know, it wasn't bad. I really enjoyed it. And looking back, I really miss Mixer. But there was something about it that just didn't really, it didn't hook me the way I wanted it to. And then that's my worry with YouTube streaming. And to be quite honest, on the technical side of it, it's easy to stream to YouTube. The issue is that if I was to stream to this channel, YouTube's algorithm tends to hate live streams. And, well, it's not specifically live streams. It hates any video that doesn't have long-term retention. So if I put up a video and it gets, you know, a 10,000 views in 12 hours or 24 hours, YouTube will probably like that. YouTube will be quite happy about that. YouTube will start putting it in the recommended feed and all that stuff. But if I live stream for 6 hours and over the course of that 6 hours, it gets, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 views, there isn't a lot of chance of that video getting another 7, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 views in the next 24 to 48 hours, because live streams are generally not something people want to watch after the fact. Now, I could chop it up into videos themselves, but YouTube itself hates those kind of videos and will just tank them. And if a video tanks on the YouTube algorithm, then the channel tanks on the YouTube algorithm. And that's why when I was playing Stray, for example, I noticed that the views on the entire channel went down because those videos weren't doing very well, and therefore YouTube wasn't pushing them. And so it's decided that it wasn't going to push the channel. So long story short, there's a list of reasons that I really want to stream on YouTube. There's a bunch of annoying businessy technical reasons that I might not. But I guess there is the option of making another channel for streaming. I do have a couple of other YouTube channels. So maybe. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I can't promise anything. DWP5 Jr. asks, what made me start YouTube? Did I ever think I would be where I am today? And what is my setup? On a side note, love the videos and thanks for making them. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That was 3 questions in one, you silly sausage. We'll start with the what made me start YouTube and did I ever think I'd be where I am today. There's actually a couple of questions I got about my office and whether or not I would do a tour. I'm not going to do it in this video, and I've been saying for like 5 years I would eventually do a tour of this place. It's this corner here looks great-ish. It's a little cluttered, but you know, you get Grogu back there, so it's fine. This corner over here, which you can't see, is a dump. So maybe my desk's also cluttered, but eventually there will 100% before the end of this year, I will do an in-depth setup tour, because I've been saying I'd do it for years, and we've been doing this for 10 years and I still haven't done it. So yes, there will be one. What made me start YouTube? So, that's a weird one. I was making videos on YouTube before I really knew what it meant to be a YouTuber. YouTubers weren't a thing. YouTube launched, I think, in 2005, and I want to say like 2007, 8, maybe 9, I was making some videos. I did some vocal covers of Slipknot songs. That was a thing that I did. I made a mask and everything. It was terrible. Those don't exist anymore, by the way. But yeah, I did some vocal covers of Slipknot songs, which I was actually quite good, if I do say so myself. I did a sketch comedy show where I nearly set myself on fire. That was a fun story. And then eventually I got into playing Minecraft on YouTube, like everyone did in 2011. And that was mostly because I saw the Yogscast doing that, actually. It was the Yogscast, I think, that was one of the first gaming channels that I ever saw. And I remember watching that and thinking, hold on, you can do this? Like, this is a thing? You can play a video game and commentate over it? And yeah, you could. So I saw them do that. And then through the Yogscast, I discovered a channel called Total Biscuit. And then I discovered a channel called Jesse Cox. And then I just discovered a YouTube network called The Game Station. And through The Game Station, I discovered all these other gaming YouTube channels. And my world was it was blown wide open. And I was like, hold on, you can do this? You can make money doing this? So I thought, I could do that. I could sit in front of a microphone and play Minecraft. And I had a laptop at the time. I had this it was like an HP notebook type thing. It was for school. It wasn't for gaming. So I was playing Minecraft, and I installed Fraps on this thing, and I installed Audacity on this thing. And I had this awful, it was like the equivalent of an Xbox 360 headset. Like, it was that bad. And I started recording and playing Minecraft, and basically I was getting maybe 15 frames per second, and I was uploading this to YouTube, and it was great. I still remember my first world from my first ever Minecraft video, and I wish I still had that world, because I was so proud of the things I was building in it. This was before I knew about Minecraft mods. This was before I knew that you could do anything creative. I was just playing survival Minecraft, and that was such a fun experience. But it was watching other people do this and thinking, hold on, I can do that. That's a thing you can do. You can make money off of this. This could be a job one day. So I got into it with that reason, right? I'll straight up say I got into it with this idea that I would love to do this as a job, but it didn't work. Right? It didn't. This was early 2011, late 2010. And it wasn't until the middle of 2016 that I started getting any substantial views or any substantial money. So somewhere in that 6 years, I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with the creative aspect of all of this. And I went to college for TV and film production, which wouldn't have happened if I didn't get into this. So I started out with a very naive approach. I started out trying to copy other channels, not in a malicious way, not in a I'm trying to be the Yogscast, but I would see things they would do, and I would go and sort of try and do my own version of it. Or I would see things that Total Biscuit would do, and I would go and try and do my own version of that. I still remember there was there was this awful game on Steam called Air Control. And the video is still on the channel. And at the time, Total Biscuit, who is no longer with us and is such an inspiration still for a lot of what I do. It doesn't translate, but TB, Total Biscuit, I think personally was the highest standard of gaming YouTuber you could possibly get, and I feel like we've all been robbed of just what his opinion on gaming in 2022 would be. But he had this series at the time called WTF is a game, right? It was his critique series, his first impressions series, where he would talk about these games. And essentially, I went and made a little series called what I didn't say WTF is, I said the full WTF is Steam doing. That was the name of my series. WTF is Steam doing. And the first episode was a game called Air Control, and it was this asset flipped, awful, like, aircraft simulator thing. And my intro to it was, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Conflict Nerd, and I have a question. What the f is Steam doing? And it was such a rip-off. It was such a rip-off of Total Biscuit. And then I had other stuff where him and someone else were playing Terraria, so I wanted to play Terraria. The Yogscast were doing this story-driven Minecraft series, so I wanted to do a story-driven Minecraft series. There was this other channel was getting into StarCraft 2, who had never played StarCraft 2, so I thought, I'm going to do that. And I just kept doing things I saw other people doing. And no one watched it, right? Why watch the cheap knockoff when you can go watch the real thing? So, whilst that wasn't successful, it did teach me the process. It did teach me the sort of creative tools that I needed to do what I do today. So, that's hopefully answering the question of how I started YouTube. And as for did I ever think I would be where I am today? No, I wanted to be. Like I said, I wanted to be here. I've always wanted to have, like, a cool setup. And I feel so lucky that, you know, my grandparents essentially let me take over the garage and renovate this, because this was just a gray box. It was just a gray concrete box. So we put up a bunch of, you know, stuff on the walls and plastered it and painted it and put up soundproofing, like the stuff behind me. You know, I've now got 6 guitars and a Gears of War Lancer. I've got another Gears of War Lancer there. I've got Captain, like, I've got all this stuff. And it's like, it's a proper little man cave, and I adore it. I wanted so much of this, but I never thought it would happen. You know, it was one of those things that it's like, man, it'd be so cool to do this. It'd be so cool to do that. And I feel unspeakably fortunate to have any of this. Like, it's wild. Like, there is some stuff in here that I bought when I was a kid. There's like a Doctor Who Cyberman figure up there that I got that like 12 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, no, I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I'd be doing this for 10 years. I never thought it would be my job. I wanted it to be, but I wanted it to be in the way that, you know, I want to move to New Zealand. I want to go and visit Hobbiton. I want to go and visit the forest where they shot the Endor scenes in Star Wars. I wanted it in the way that you want those, like, silly ideas that you have that you're never really going to do. You know, I want it in the way that I want a Ford Mustang. You know, it's stuff like that. And yet, I feel really lucky to be sitting here in the middle of all of this, talking about all of this. I hope that answers the question. I'm rambling, and this is going to be a long one. BMRBN asks, what is the game you have hated the most? What is the love one? Also, would love to know how I'm doing. How was my health, physical and mental? That's another 3 questions in one. I see what we're doing here. I'll see how it's going. Okay, what game have I hated the most? I don't know. To be quite honest, I don't tend to play games that I don't like. You know, I will sometimes for like a one-off video if it's funny, but generally I don't play games I don't like, because when I don't like a game, it makes me angry. And I know that sounds silly, but it does. It makes me angry because I want to enjoy it. You buy a video game with the intent of enjoying it, and if I don't, I get annoyed because I feel like I've wasted money. I feel like I'm wasting my time. I generally I generally can't think of something that I've played on the channel that I genuinely hate. There's some bad games, like Air Control, like I mentioned in the last question, but that was one that I knew was going to be bad, and that was the point, was that it was bad, and that I was just going to go in and tear it apart. So I can't say I've hated a game. I mean, I'll go through phases of being done with games. I've gone through phases of being done with City Skylines. I've gone through phases of being done with Software Inc. And that's usually why Software Inc. is usually a yearly thing, which, by the way, it isn't this year, but next year probably, maybe, unless it comes out. Anyway, yeah, I can't say I've ever hated a game that I've stuck with. I can't think of one off the top of my head that I hate, but there's a lot that I get annoyed with. I think, God, what was it? There was a shooter that I played. Shooters in general, I love them for the first 2 weeks that they come out, and then people find the meta gun and they start just using it all the time, and I start to hate it. So we'll go with just first-person shooters in general. I hate the state of them in 2022. What is one that I love? I mean, there's obvious answers to that. I could say City Skylines. I could say Software Inc. You know, those are the very those are the fan service answers, right? But I'm going to go with two games that I absolutely love. One of them's quite recent, and it's Stray. It's the cat game. And I'm going to go back a good few years, and I think this series is still on the channel. I hope it's still on the channel. There's a game I played called Valiant Hearts: The Great War. I don't remember which war it's set in. I think it's the First World War. It might be the Second. And in the 10 years I've been doing this, that is the only game I can think of that has made me cry at the end. It is a little bit of a puzzle game. It's a Ubisoft kind of indie game, and it is, I love it to bits. I absolutely, absolutely adore it. It is such a beautiful game, and it's so heartfelt. I really, really adored it to this day. Also, Dishonored is another game that I absolutely adored. I did do a series of that. I don't know if it's still on the channel, but that's another game that I adore. There's a lot. There's a lot of games like that that I've played over the years that I just love playing. They're not really fitted for this channel, and sometimes they'll end up on different YouTube channels. But Stray, Valiant Hearts, Dishonored, three very different games, and I absolutely adore them. Obviously, City Skylines is a game that I love and adore. City Skylines is half the reason that most of you are here. Software Inc. as well is a game that I would love to see get more attention, because number one, I think it deserves it. And number two, quite frankly, if Software Inc. was to blow up on YouTube, that would benefit me quite a bit. But yeah, no, those three games, Dishonored, Valiant Hearts, Stray, absolutely adore them. If you don't want to check out my videos on them, just check them out on Steam. They're all up there. They're very, very good. Very different to what I usually play, but great games all the less. How am I doing? How is my health, physical and mental? Physical health, not great. I have put on a lot more weight in the last couple of years of pandemic and all that than I would care to admit, which is why you can only see from here down. And that's also why I'm wearing a large t-shirt when I used to wear a medium. So there's that. Mental health actually is pretty good. So a little bit of a trigger warning for those that don't necessarily want to hear about this. I'll hold my finger up to let you know when I drop my finger like this, specifically like that, you'll know that it's done. This is just going to be a topic about depression and what can stem from depression, the sort of more serious sides of depression. We'll keep my finger up for this discussion just very quickly. A year ago, just over a year ago, I was in a very, very dark place, and I was actually, in the spirit of full transparency, there was a point at which I had a conversation with a doctor who essentially, if I didn't sign a contract that agreed to place my care in the hands of my family, I was going to have to be put into a hospital and kept there until I could get the treatment for what I was going through. It has since very recently been 1 year since, not that, but 1 year since I have had any kind of manic depressive episode. And I didn't realize it was a year until it was beyond a year. So I'm actually quite proud of that. to be honest. I'm doing better than I've done in years, I think. It's not perfect. There's still bad days, but I've not had anything like what I went through. And I went through that for a couple of years, so pretty good comparatively. Could be better. It's still a journey. It's still something I got to go through, and still something to, you know, continue to fix and discover and work out. But yeah, it's been over a year since my last bad episode, and I'm hoping to get to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years with that. So that is, that's how I'm doing there. And that is the, I have to do that. That is the end of the heavy discussion. So let's move on to the next question. Sky is asking any more games that I'm looking for this year, maybe next year, that I want to play and even record. Oh boy. Games are kind of in a weird place for me, I've got to be honest. I was sitting down earlier this year and I was looking at my Steam library and I was looking at what was coming out, and I thought, man, there's not a lot that I want to play. And then I ended up playing Software Inc. again, which is starting soon, Transport Fever, Stray, 2 Point Campus, and I'm kind of enjoying bouncing around without really knowing what I'm playing next. It's actually kind of fun because I'm getting into this place where I see something and I'm like, oh, that looks fun, and I'll just go and play it. There are some things coming up that I want to play. Obviously, City Skylines has a new DLC coming out, which I'm very excited about for a couple of reasons, but that's probably something we'll cover. I don't know if I'm going to do a full series on it, but it'll be there. Software Inc.'s coming back. 2 Point Campus is continuing. Transport Fever 2 is continuing. I can't really think of too much that's coming out that I'm super excited about at the minute. Although, I'm gonna be honest, I know there's some controversy around it, but I am really interested in that Hogwarts game. I think it looks kind of cool. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. The controversy around it's a little, you know, it's kind of a whole thing. There's some comments made by the person that created Harry Potter that are kind of, but that's one that has caught my eye. That's one that I have seen a little bit. Dead Island 2 is finally coming out 8 years after it was first revealed. That's finally coming out in like February. Saints Row came out recently. I'm sort of interested in that. It's sort of like a soft reboot of the franchise. There's a lot of stuff coming out that isn't really typical for this channel, so I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day on this channel. But yeah, there's stuff like Hogwarts Legacy, Dead Island 2, Saints Row. Honestly, the new Call of Duty, I'll probably play that because Warzone was kind of fun when it came out. So stuff like that. I hope something cool happens with Halo. Halo Infinite's been out for almost a year and has had no updates worth talking about, to be quite honest. So hopefully something good there. But yeah, I haven't really stayed on top of what's coming out, to be totally honest. I'm enjoying bouncing around sort of aimlessly without really any real direction. I'm sure that's frustrating for the channel, but that's, yeah. Ooh, I have been thinking about playing Stonehearth again. I'll say that. That's something. It's not coming out. It's been out for years. It was abandoned, but I'm looking at it. I'm getting some ideas. I'm getting some cravings. Firefrost asks, is there any game I would want to replay again for the first time? Like, I don't know what happens in it. I'm finding everything out. And what is the reason for it? Skyrim would be one. Minecraft would be another. Ark Survival Evolved would be another. The games like that. So a lot of survival games I would love to play for the first time. A lot of open world games. GTA 5 I think would be really fun to play again for the first time. Anything open world, really. Any RPGs, anything like that, I would love to play again for the first time. Stray as well. I know it's not an RPG, but I'd love to play that again for the first time. Most of the management games that I play, actually, I'm quite content with where I am. I love the early game in those, but I also love knowing what to do, especially as a YouTuber, because part of the reason I haven't played Farthest Frontier yet, which people keep asking me to play, is because I haven't played it. So I don't know how it works, and it's been available for like a month, so I'm aware that if I play that game and go into it blind, there's a good chance the comments are going to be full of, well, actually, I think you'll find this other YouTuber that I watch who shares a demographic with you has actually done it this way. And I think they're writing, this comment's being written on a typewriter. And I think you'll find that they actually did it this way and it was much more efficient. So I'm kind of aware of those as potential comments. So yeah, I want to play that, but that would be a first time thing. Anyway, I just lost the question. It was the first game again thing. Yeah, it was. I got slightly distracted by the typewriter. Yeah, basically any survival game, any open world game, anything with just a lot of discovery, I would love to play again for the first time. Dishonored would be another one, you know, stuff like that. The management games, not so much, but any of the open world survival, you know, games like that. Minecraft. I think Minecraft for the first time again would be, I think I would hate it, to be honest. I think I would hate Minecraft for the first time because when I first played it, it was 12 years ago and it was barely a game, right? It was just about survival. And now you've got like all this underwater stuff. You've got all these different realms. You've got all this stuff in Minecraft these days. I don't think I would know what I'm doing. I really don't. I think I'd get lost and I think I'd rage quit, but I think it'd be an interesting experiment. Danny Tiger asks, what has been the happiest moments you experienced with the channel and what do you hope to accomplish for the future? So this will tie back to one of the questions from earlier a little bit, but some of my happiest moments have, they haven't specifically been about material objects, but it's been these moments where, you know, I would buy something for my grandparents that just helps them out, you know? I bought, during the pandemic, both of my grandparents did end up with COVID, and I bought them a TV. And I know it sounds like a big thing, and it's not the TV itself that I'm happy about, but I bought them a TV to put in their bedroom because they'd never had a TV in their bedroom. Never. You know, they were married for, I want to say it was 50 or 51 years, and they'd never had a TV in their bedroom. And I thought, you know what? They're both kind of bed-bound. They're both sick, so I'm going to buy them a nice TV. It's a smart TV. I'll put Netflix on it, Amazon, all of, you know, BBC iPlayer, all of the on-demand stuff. And they can, you know, lay there, relax, rest, get better, and, you know, just watch some TV. And it's a simple thing, you know, we all kind of take for granted, right? We all watch YouTube or Twitch or TikTok or whatever else. I'm too old for that. And we just watch it without thinking about, you know, how used to doing that we've gotten. So I just wanted to get them something so they weren't just laying there staring at the ceiling. So things like that, you know, being able to help other people with what I do. Cause I don't care about being rich. I don't like this office is like the flashiest thing I have. It really is. And a lot of the stuff on these shelves, it's cheap crap. And it's cheap crap because you don't see it. I never really do face cam stuff. And I mean, that shield, for example, it looks good when it's out of focus, but if you looked at it closely, it looks like a trash can lid. And there's like some Doctor Who figures up there that are quite cheap as well, but out of focus, they look okay because you can't see the details on them. There's some cheap Star Wars figures back there. But yeah, I'm at my happiest when I can help other people. I'm at my happiest when I can like give back to people. That's not to say that there's been some great moments. Like I went to Frontier Expo in 2017, and that was like the first convention I went to where people recognized me because it was Frontier, right? It was a Planet Coaster. It wound up being a Jurassic World convention, an elite, dangerous convention. And so there were people from the Planet Coaster demographic who recognized me. And that was cool. Like having people be like, hey, I know who you are. And I'm like, hey, I don't know who you are, but hello. It was really cool. Going to Gamescom in 2018 with Paradox was really cool as well, to play Stellaris on console. That was a really big deal. Got to hang out with some guys from Paradox, got to sit in their booth and stream and do all that stuff. It was really cool. And then I remember going out for dinner with a bunch of people afterwards, and that was really, it was so cool. I felt so out of place. I had really serious imposter syndrome setting in, but it was really cool. And then I think the year before, in like early 2017, I'm pretty sure it was early 2017, I got to go to Stockholm to film the Stellaris YouTuber war with a bunch of people as well. There's some really cool moments and some really cool experiences that just make me really happy to think about. And again, these are all things that wouldn't be possible without the support shown by all of you. But most of all, it is I'm at my happiest when I can just give back. That's it. I don't need $1 million. I don't need a flashy car. I don't need a fancy house. You know, I've got my microphone. I've got my computer. As long as I can pay my bills, have a little bit of savings, I'm happy. So I'd rather take the money that I get and give back to other people, because there's no point to being a millionaire. As far as I'm concerned, there's no point to being a billionaire. I'd rather just, if I'm happy and I have a bunch extra, you know, make other people happy. That's all I want to do. So that's when I'm at my happiest with this channel. BG asks, what is my ultimate favorite game and what was my favorite video series and why? And says, congratulations, we all love you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then Little Boots followed that up with, out of all the videos I've done over the past 10 years, what is my favorite video that I've done? I'm going to combine those into one. So favorite game is a tricky one, because again, the fan servicey answer would be to sit here and go, Cities Skylines. Favorite game. That's there's so many that I've played that picking one is extremely difficult. I think I would have to go with one of my all-time favorites being the original Stronghold on PC, because that was my gateway game. That was the one that got me into gaming. Was Stronghold on PC, and I've told this story before, I'm pretty sure. I've told all my stories before, but my grand's brother, my great uncle, had this house back where my family's from, and we used to go up every Sunday to visit, you know, my great aunt, my great uncle, my grandparents' families. And there were a lot of Sundays when I wouldn't want to go and do that. So they would leave me with my great uncle, who had a PC. And he had Stronghold on that PC, and he would let me play it. And a couple of weeks went by. I would go up. I suddenly really wanted to go visit family, and then when we get there, it was, can I stay with Uncle Mick? And I would stay there for a few hours and play Stronghold. And a few weeks went by, and a couple of months went by, and my aunt, who was living here at the time, got a PC. This was late 90. I don't know when Stronghold came out. This was shortly after Stronghold came out. So she got a PC. Or she had a PC. And that PC became sort of everyone's PC. So my great uncle got me a copy of Stronghold, which wasn't legal. It was not a brand new copy of Stronghold. It wasn't a branded copy of Stronghold. It was a white Tesco branded, like Walmart branded for Unimer. It was a white Tesco branded disc with Stronghold written on it in Sharpie. But I had my own copy of Stronghold. And there's just a lot of like really good memories associated with that. And there's a slightly bittersweet note to that. It ties into the last question about, you know, my happiest moments. That uncle passed away, I think in 2020, I think right at the start of the pandemic, just before the lockdowns, I think. Might have been 2019, I don't remember. I think it was December 27th, 2019. I think the funeral was right at the start of January. And I remember, I feel very lucky that I got to do this. In early 2019, maybe March, April, he was looking for a new PC. And I was able to get it for him. He gave my gran like £300 and was like, can you take him to the store, let him pick out the PC, he'll know what he's doing. And I wound up going to the store, and I basically bought him a £500, like, all-in-one, really, like, not top of the range gaming PC, but top of the range. Like, he was wanting to just do his emails, play a couple of games, watch some YouTube and stuff like that. So, got in this really nice, compact, all-in-one, nice big screen, nothing crazy, but a good, solid PC. It didn't have a lot of space either, so an AIO was perfect. So, 20 years after he had introduced me to PC gaming, and with Stronghold, I was able to give back by getting him this PC, because what he never knew, and, this is a secret he will now never know, and I'm a little smug about this, but the £300 that he gave to my gran, which was then given to me, that I wound up sort of giving that back to my gran in a way. The PC, I bought the thing outright. I just bought everything about it. Essentially, I gave the money to my gran for her to sort of give back to him, because someone, I don't know if her or me or whoever, but someone had borrowed money from this uncle at one point. So basically, we took the $300 that he gave us to buy the PC and eventually got it back to him. I bought the PC, so he didn't really end up paying anything for it. And I was just really proud of that. It was one of those things that, I just felt like I got to give back to him. Because if he hadn't, let me spend some time there playing a video game on his PC, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So, yeah, that I don't know if that answers any of those questions, to be quite honest. Stronghold. Stronghold is my ultimate favorite game. What is my favorite video or video series? Favorite video, honestly, I love the Tiered City. It's the most viewed on the channel. It's the one that a lot of people found the channel through. But I love the story of that video because it was out of desperation. I was recording a city series at the time, The Save Corrupted, and I had this idea for weeks of a wedding cake type city. I went and built it in 3 hours, did the commentary in 30 minutes, uploaded the video, and now it's got like 4.5 million views. So probably that one. That's maybe a bit of a cheat answer, but you got a really long answer for your first question, so I think that's fair enough. Pilot243 asks, is there anything I wish I'd done differently through the years of making content? Is there anything I regret having missed or done during the course of the channel? Yes. The numerous rebrands probably could have been toned down a little bit. I think one of the things I look back on the most and cringe at is, and this is something that I'm not sure many of you will know about, is the ConflictNerd family. I got a bunch of people that I knew and some that I didn't, and we were trying to make this like pseudo YouTube network under the ConflictNerd banner. So ConflictNerd went from being essentially me to a brand, like a team almost. So you had ConflictNerd Dylan, you had ConflictNerd this person, ConflictNerd that person, and yeah, it was it didn't work. It didn't work in the slightest. There were some fun things come out of it. We played games of like Civilization as a group, and that was pretty cool. We had some of us attend like a charity thing I was doing at one point, and that was pretty cool. But it was a pretty bad idea. It didn't work. It was kind of embarrassing, and it's embarrassing to think back on. And I wish I'd never done it. But I did, so I would have done that differently by not doing it. That's definitely one of the things that I would have done differently, for sure. As for regrets or anything I regret having missed or done during the course of the channel, I regret the way, again, I'll not go into the details. This isn't going to be another trigger warning thing like earlier, but I regret how last year when I was going through a really bad patch, I put out this statement that was essentially, I'm retiring. And then a few months later, I was back. I wasn't in a place where I knew that I was going to come back. At the time I put that statement out, I was done. I was not coming back. I wasn't going to be a YouTuber anymore. I wasn't going to make videos. I was going to go do something else. And I had fully intended to be away for, you know, if I ever did come back, it wasn't as a YouTuber. I'd come back and post a video once in a while, but that was going to be a year or two from then. But I went into therapy. I went and spoke to doctors. I changed my lifestyle up a little bit. And within 3 months, I felt refreshed and renewed and better. And I thought, I'm going to give this a shot with like a healthier outlook. So I regret the way I worded that announcement, because I feel like it made me look like a jackass, to be honest. There are people that responded to that initial tweet who I've looked up to for years, who I didn't know knew I existed. There are streamers that responded to it that I didn't know that they knew I existed. There are YouTubers that responded to it that I didn't know that they knew I existed. There are friends that reached out to me and said, if you need anything, I'm here. And I feel like by going back on it, I kind of spat in their face, and I really hate that feeling. But at the time, that's where I was. At the time, I was done. I guess I wish I had the clairvoyance to be able to see that, no, what you need is months of not doing this. Not just a weekend off, not just 3 days off, not a week, not 2. You don't need a holiday for a week. You need to just cut loose and completely process everything going on for months before you can build back what you want to build back. So that's a pretty big regret as well. Ian Feline asks, where was I, or am I, planning on making and publishing music? I personally would love a ConflictNerd album. Yes, and yes, I was and am planning on doing that. I have played guitar, I have several, for years. I've played guitar for like 15 years, ish. I'm not an amazing guitar player, but I know how to play. If I hear a song that I like, I can play it. That's what I always tell people. I can learn to play it pretty quickly. I've always learned by ear. I'm self-taught. And as for singing, I can, if I really try, I can carry a tune. I can carry a note. I had actually been planning on putting out some music this year. I don't know if I will. I have a bit of a concept for a couple of songs. I drafted up like some titles and some like notes and what the songs would be about, and sort of the lyrical content of them, as well as like the tone of the songs. Like I'm really into like, I'm into like some kind of thrashy stuff, but I'm also into more like just kind of rock and roll type stuff. My favorite band at the moment is a band called Ghost. My favorite band over the last while has been a band called Bullet for My Valentine, but I love bands like Trivium, Avenged Sevenfold, Metallica. But I also like stuff like Green Day. I also like musical theater. I like Disney. So I want to like take a lot of the stuff that I enjoy and see where I can take those influences and see where they go. But yes, I am at some point planning on making and releasing music. I don't know if it'll be an album, but yeah, there'll be something. I don't know that it'll necessarily be ConflictNerd that puts the music out. It might just be my name, because I think ConflictNerd doesn't really look. It would probably be like a metal EP, or at least a hard rock EP. I don't think ConflictNerd works all that well for like a thrashy metal hard rock album, right? It's a bit of a weird name. So yes, I am 100% planning on doing that. Chromium asks, what series of videos on my channel do I personally wish got more views or attention? All of them. Datsami0 asks if you could play any game on the channel, no limitations, no worrying about view count, what would you choose and why? All of them. Ghost Flame asks, what's a game that you wanted to see thrive on your channel and why? All of them. No, for real on that, there are a lot of games that I play. I don't just play management games. I don't just play simulators. I play stuff like Grand Theft Auto Roleplay. I play that all the time. I wish that was something I could share more, but You remember earlier when I talked about the YouTube algorithm and how it will punish a channel for videos that don't perform well? That's essentially why I don't post stuff like Grand Theft Auto Roleplay, because the views that it gets compared to a Software Inc. video are pretty low. So then that starts bringing the views of the entire channel down, so it starts hurting the good performing series. So I would like to share more of everything that I play. I'd like to do some Saints Row. I'd planned on doing some Saints Row stuff on the channel, but I never got around to it because I just got in my own head about view counts and stuff like that. So I would genuinely like to play more of everything and share more about what I love about gaming in general, but YouTube isn't a good platform for it once you have a channel that's locked into a certain type of game and a certain standard of game or a certain standard of content. Doesn't matter if it's gaming or not. I do have other channels where I could share that stuff, but again, you know, views-wise, it becomes a question of, well, why am I spending time to make a video that's going to get maybe 1,000 views when I could spend half of that time or less making a video that's going to get 10,000 views? And it's one of those things that it's not nice to say that out loud. It's one of those taboo things, right? You know, because a lot of people still have this idea with YouTube where it's, well, do it because you love it. I do love what I do, but I also have to be realistic because I have bills to pay, you know? I do have bills to pay, so it can't just, not every moment can be this, do what you love and only do what you love. Sometimes you have to make decisions. So, again, it's not that I'm doing things I don't enjoy, right? I'm fortunate that there are things that people enjoy, that people want to watch, that I also love doing. You know, Software Inc. is an example. I didn't think the last series would be as good as it was in terms of view count and reception, but I loved every second of it. So I'm very fortunate in that sense, but not a lot, but sometimes you have to make decisions on, you know, how long am I going to spend on this? Are the views that I'm getting worth it? Could I spend that time doing something else? Stray, talked about this game a couple of times, is another example. If that was a 20-hour game, if that was a 30-hour game, I probably wouldn't have touched it. But because it was like 4 hours, no problem. Voxy asks, if you didn't manage to make it as a full-time YouTuber or streamer, what other job prospects was I looking into? It would have been something in the media. I would have probably went to London to go to university for something to do with TV and film, and I probably would have pursued a career in TV and film. There's a lot of people I know that have done some sort of work here and there for like the BBC, for ITV. There's a lot of people I know that have wound up working on movies. There were some opportunities when I was in college to go and be an extra on Game of Thrones. Never did that. There was an opportunity at one point to be an extra in Dracula Untold, which was filmed here as well. I would have done that. I am listed on, there's a website where you can go register to be like an on-call actor, and I am on a couple of those, and I have had a couple of requests to go and be an extra in things. There was a BBC 3 series a couple of months ago that wanted me for something, and I actually couldn't do it because I was due to be traveling when they would have been filming that. But it would have been something like that. I probably wouldn't have ever been an actor, but I would have been like an extra, or I would have been, you know, behind the camera. It was something to do with media was where my life was kind of going. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a vet. And then I realized that it's not just petting cute animals. Like you have to deal with actual sick animals, and that would make me really sad. So I didn't become a vet. I became a YouTuber. Moving on to Twitter, Mr. Ansem asks, will you be doing another 3/4 series of Cities Skylines when the new DLC drops? Cold. I see what you did there. That's cheeky, but fair. No, I'll probably do a half series. Is the only answer I've got for you there. I am going to play it. I don't know how long the series is going to be. It's not that I never want to finish Cities Skylines. It's just that it doesn't really have an end game, you know? There's no end game point in Cities Skylines. You can just go infinitely, and eventually I sort of run out of ideas. I just like to hope that I get to I at least cover the DLC within my ideas before I run out of them. So yeah, there'll be some new stuff, but it might only be a half series. Techno OS has like 13 questions, so I'm gonna answer some of these. I'll go through them kind of quickly, because that's, you know, we'll go through some good ones in here. Number one is, what is my favorite series? I think I touched on that. I think like Valiant Hearts, Stray, Dishonored. Great games. Honestly, it is hard to pick one overall. Most recently, I think Stray is probably my favorite series that I've done. What is my favorite game right now? I don't really have one, to be totally honest. I'm playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto Roleplay. I'm not really streaming it or recording it, but yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite game right now. I'm kind of in a bit of a limbo before like all the games start coming out at the end of the year. I can't say I have a favorite right now. What was my most common favorite game? Not really sure on that one. Stronghold, we'll go with that. What game am I looking at for new series, or what games am I looking at for new series? We sort of covered that one already. I'm looking at stuff like any management game that comes out, really. There's Slime Rancher 2 is one. Dinkum came out a while ago. I think it's early access. I'm considering it. There's a game called High Rise City. Obviously the new City Skylines DLC, possibly more Urbex at some point. Just all that kind of stuff. Let's see. What is my favorite story/rant? I'll give you a one-word answer on that. Linden. And if you know, you know. Will I try Satisfactory again? It's on my list. What is the record number for subscribers in 24 hours? Oh, wow. It's a few thousand. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like 2, 3, maybe 4,000. I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000. At one point, the channel was this was when like the tiered city was exploding. It was a few thousand subscribers in 24 hours. I might be wrong on that. I think people can go try and look it up on Social Blade. I'm not going to, because if I'm wrong, you can answer in the comments below, and then that's more engagement on the video, and YouTube's going to be like, oh, that's going out to the recommended. So yeah, that's a video, by the way, going out to recommended. It's like that. That's how it works. What is my best performing video? It's City Skylines Tiered City. Who is my favorite YouTuber to watch when I have free time? Ooh. I've recently got back into watching Abroad in Japan, which is funny because Abroad in Japan uses the same intro music that I do. So that's always interesting. If I fall asleep when I'm watching it and another video comes on the playlist, I start hearing the intro music, and every time it wakes me up because I'm like, it's not one of my videos, is it? Because I hate hearing my own voice on TV. So Abroad in Japan recently, Tested, Adam Savage is pretty great. I don't really watch much gaming. I watch a lot of cooking stuff. I watch a lot of crafting stuff. I watch a lot of like DIY maker stuff, and I watch a lot of travel stuff. I don't really watch much gaming stuff at all. 10 to 12 is, what is my favorite artist for music, album, and song? Favorite artist overall, it would have to be Bullet for My Valentine. I've listened to them for the longest, but in the last couple of years, it has very much been Ghost. Favorite album, at the minute is probably Impera, Ghost's most recent album, and my favorite song at the minute is Spillways, off of that most recent album. But other favorite albums include Prequel, which was Ghost's fourth album. I really like Gravity by Bullet for My Valentine. It was like their synthy kind of genty album that a lot of people hated. I love it. I think there's some great songs on there. I think Leap of Faith, Letting You Go, and Over It are some fantastic songs off of that. Going back further, Bullet put out an album called Scream, Aim, Fire in 2000, and I want to say 8, which has some amazing thrashy metal on there as well. The title track's great. Eye of the Storm is great. There's a song called Take It Out on Me, which is like one of the first thrashy songs I ever learned. You've got Green Day, have a bunch of great songs. I think American Idiot just speaks for itself as an album. It's absolutely fantastic. And then, Disney stuff, musical theater. I love Phantom of the Opera. I think is just fantastic overall. I think the sequel has some great songs as well. So that hopefully answers that. And the final question from Techno is, how often do I play games off stream or video? Recently, quite regularly. because essentially I haven't been streaming as much, but when I'm streaming regularly, not very often. Red9to5 asks, what's a game you personally love to play but never streamed out of concern it wouldn't get views? There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I play that I don't stream or record. Most recently, Saints Row, Grand Theft Auto RP, a lot of shooters. I think shooters are it's fairly generic YouTube content anyway, so it's whatever. But there's a lot of stuff, man. There's so much that it wouldn't be worth it. It comes back to that question of, is the time investment of playing this, recording it, editing it, learning the game, rendering it, uploading it, doing a thumbnail release, is it worth doing, or can I just play it for fun in my own time and not worry about the work side of it? And again, I wish we lived in this place where, everything on YouTube got a bunch of views, but it just doesn't. So that's just how it is. It's fine. The channel is about sort of simulators and management games. That's just how it is. And that's okay. If I want to branch out, I'll go to another channel. I'll still keep this one going. It'll be another ConflictNerd channel, but I'll go play in another channel and put different stuff there. Or we'll very slowly, over the course of the next 10 years, take this channel in a different direction. Brian asks, have I considered doing a series where I'm deliberately prohibited from doing symmetrical construction as a challenge to myself? I have considered it. I have not done it because I would drive myself insane. And to be honest, I would find a way to cheat. Because if you take the battery concept from City Skylines as an example, the battery doesn't have to be symmetrical. It often isn't. Usually you can say that one side of the battery way over here is industry, then commercial, then you have your spine road, then you have your residential, or you do it the other way around. So technically, I would find a way to cheat, and I know I would, so I just haven't bothered, because I would cheat. Jay asks, can we have a sneak peek of your schedule for the next few weeks? I can't show you my schedule, because there's a thing or two on there that hasn't been announced yet. But that in and of itself is a sneak peek of the schedule. There is some Software Inc. planned, which is going out after this video. There is some City Skylines with the new DLC, but beyond that, I actually can't legally tell you what I know. SuperJazza12 asks, what's the biggest change you've made in your life/content to continue your journey as a content creator? Did it work out as planned? Oh man. There's a lot of changes that I've made to my life and to my content. I think this last year or so, I've started being a little more choppy with the videos. I've started trying to not fill the air with needless dribble, which there's two reasons for that. Number one, I do get rambly, and number two, a lot of it's going to be stories that I've already told. Obviously, there were 2 years of a pandemic there where I didn't really go traveling, so I don't have other stories to tell. But it's also to try and keep the videos on track a little bit. So when I'm recording something, even this video, every time there's been a cut in this video, I've sat in silence. Because when I'm editing this, I can look at the audio timeline and I can see I'm silent there, and I start talking there, so cut out the silent bit, and that's how it just chops to every next question. I'll do the same thing with the gaming videos. I'll be like, okay, we're gonna, like Transport Fever, for example. There's a video, I don't think it's out yet, but there's a video where I'm like, okay, we're gonna upgrade all of the, the wagons into trucks. And that was like a solid 5 minutes of click on this, click that button, upgrade that. Okay, and I'll click back to the start, click on this, it was just 5 minutes of that. So the commentary is something like, all right, we're going to go ahead and upgrade all these trucks. Let's get it done. And then I just sat in silence, upgrading these. And then I moved the camera to somewhere where I can see one of the trucks. And I'm like, and there we go. We have a bunch of upgraded trucks and a bunch of Ford Model 77s. And so for you watching that, you get a very quick cut, right? You get the, okay, we're going to go ahead and upgrade all these trucks. And there we go. They're all upgraded. It's that quick. And for me, that's a change, because in the past, I would have probably been like, okay, we're going to go ahead and upgrade all these trucks. And while we're doing that, let me tell you a little story about the time that I stood in the back of a truck filled with fish in the south of Ireland, which is actually a true story. Did happen, but there's nothing really more exciting about it. I would have been able to fill the air with that story, but I'm trying to be a little more conscious of the fact that a lot of my stories are repeat stories at this stage. I've told them all a million times. So that's one change to the content. And in terms of it working out, it works out for me because I don't feel the same pressure to fill the air. In the last couple of years, I've gotten very conscious about when a video feels right or doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, I'll scrap it. And that could be after an hour of recording. And it's only an hour, but it's still an hour that I've essentially wasted. It's an hour of content that's never going to go anywhere. So that's one change. What was the other part of this question? Was it life? Yeah. What's the biggest change I made in my life? Probably this office, to be honest. I did at one point move my entire business into an office in town, but probably this office, because what this has done is given me the freedom to be as loud as I want. I can play guitar until 5 in the morning if I want. I can sing and scream and shout and record until 5 in the morning if I want, because this building is completely separate from the house. So, and it's soundproof, so it's great for that. It gives me my own space where if I'm in here, I'm in work mode. If I'm not in here, I can go chill in the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom. I can just relax. It's put enough space between my life and my work where I can sort of separate them a little bit. I don't do it very well, but sometimes I do. And I believe that's it. That's the questions. I've got 12 messages apparently. That's the questions that I got. That's the questions that I've chosen to answer. There are a few that I didn't. There was 1 or 2 that were personal. Not that I'm not comfortable answering them, but that would have made this video about 2 hours longer if I did. And there were a few people that asked questions that had already been answered. A couple of questions like, are you going to return to City Skylines with the new DLC? What's your favorite game? What's your favorite series? What are you looking forward to in the future? There were a couple of repeat questions, so I just went with the first ones that I saw. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into me, the channel, the last 10 years, what I'm about, what we're doing. I don't know if this has been a good video. This might be one of those videos that when I sit down to edit, I throw it out. I mean, it won't be, but it could be. This is one of those videos where I'm sort of in my own head about it, and I'm sitting thinking, wow, maybe that wasn't so good. Maybe I should have done the big video idea that I had for the last couple of months that I never got around to, but I didn't, so we're here with this. But I'm going to just ramble if I keep going like this. I'm 100% going to keep rambling. I'm going to make a point of cutting it right about here, but not before I just say, again, thank you so much for the last 10 years. It doesn't matter if you've been here for 10 years, for 10 months, 10 weeks, 10 days, or 10 minutes. Anyone that takes time out of their day to watch something that I do, I do appreciate it because, this is one of the most cliche things that I could say, but it is something I genuinely believe. Time is a currency, but it is the only currency you can't have refunded. You can never get it back. So the fact that you are willing to spend some of your valuable time on something that I do, that's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to me. The fact that I've spent 10 years doing this is mind-blowing to me, to be quite honest, because that's 10 years I'm never getting back. But yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy that we're all here. I've got nothing. Like I said at the start, there's no words. There's no words to describe this moment for me, because there's anniversaries all the time. It's 10 years of a YouTube channel. It's not 10 years of me doing YouTube full time. It's 10 years of me making the channel. 10 years since. So it's wild. It's been a life-changing 10 years, which is, I mean, of course it has. 10 years is a pretty long time, but regardless, thank you for watching, everybody. And I don't just mean this video, I mean for however long you've been watching. And I will see you in the next, I don't mean I'll see you in 10 years. I'll see you as we go into the next 10 years. Bye.